Good afternoon, Alan here with another 5 minutes of recovery. As always, my disclaimer, I don't represent any specific 12-step fellowship. I'm not a professional speaker. I just make these videos to share my experience, strength, and hope with the hopes that maybe somebody will see one of my videos that is still struggling and will seek help. And you could always reach out to me on Facebook or wherever you saw this video from. So today, what I would like to talk about is surrender and the importance of surrendering to alcoholism and drug addiction and how a power comes from that. And I believe, personally, truly believe that that power comes from a connection with a God of my understanding. And, and he removed the obsession to drink and drug pretty early on for me. And so I was at a meeting and they were talking about powerlessness and how you could admit that you're powerless over drugs and alcohol, and yet you could still use. And that was the case with me for a really long time. And a lot of that had to do with, it always goes back to my fear, right? And so I admitted that I had a problem and that I was an alcoholic and a drug addict, but I had a hard time accepting it. So admitting that I'm powerless is easy. Accepting it is where I ran into some difficulty for a pretty long time. To getting it from my head to my heart is the problem, and that involves surrendering to the fact that I can't use one of anything successfully, and it took me a really long time to get to that place, and all of the suggestions and everything else I heard, but it was truly the gift of desperation, the gift of being completely hopeless and just not wanting to go on. And once I got to that place, I knew that there was help for me if I was willing to seek it. And so that's what I did. And this time around, that's what I do on a regular basis. I get up every morning. As soon as I open my eyes, I say thank you, and I asked my God to help me to stay sober for the day. And that's all I got to do, 24 hours at a time, right? They talk about that the only step that you have to work 100% perfect is step one. And for the most part, that's true. As long as you don't pick up one of anything, you don't have to worry about getting high, right? And anything that happens after that could always be fixed. But once we put one of anything in us, that's it. At least that's it for me. I know my experience tells me that if I think that maybe I could go out gambling, or I could be promiscuous, or I could do any number of other things, that my result is going to be any different. I just recognize that that's not the case. And so when it comes to me surrendering, I had to first surrender to the drugs and the alcohol, right? And once I was able to do that, what I found is that my whole life is literally about surrendering from one thing to another. And over the years, it was different levels. And so I was able to surrender to alcohol and drugs for a while, but I wasn't able to surrender to gambling. And as a result of not being able to surrender to that, I went back to the alcohol and drugs. And that seemed to be the case with me for a lot of years in my addiction. I would be able to surrender one or two things, but I wasn't willing to give this up. And then I wasn't willing to give that up. And so through God's grace now, I get the opportunity to stay sober on a daily basis. And I'm more willing to take a look at those things that I needed to surrender to on a daily basis in order to stay sober and be a productive human being and try to be useful to you guys and useful to other people in my life. And that's my main goal today. Staying in gratitude, surrendering, staying in gratitude, and being useful to others is the way that I'm able to stay sober on a daily basis. And that works. And so if you're struggling with surrender and not sure, it says right in the book, go out and try some more controlled drinking. That doesn't work. I'm telling you that I did that for you. And if you're anything like me and you've been watching my videos and you can identify with the feelings that I talk about, then if you're anything like me, then I already did it for you and you don't have to do it. Just give yourself a chance. Stay sober a day at a time. Get a sponsor. Get some guidance. Work through the process. And you'll be amazed at the results that you get. My life is truly, honestly, beyond my wildest dreams. And I hope that I said something that helped somebody today. And I wish everybody a wonderful week. And I'll talk to you guys next week. Thanks, and have a great day.